Special thanks to my $10 plus patrons, JD and Angel. If you yourself want to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/Hanktendo to start supporting me before YouTube can today. What is up, you stinky individuals, and welcome to a discussion video regarding this lovely thing. For those who don't know, this is the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. And, you know, I've been fighting off an ear infection for about a week now. My ears hurt, but they haven't hurt enough for me to want to, spend a few minutes on the microphone, kind of give my thoughts about a video. Don't worry about Luigi's Mansion 3 videos. I've already planned that enough in advance for me to, take enough time to take my antibiotics and rest my ears up. But I decided that I am going to give my humble Nintendo YouTuber opinions on this service because it's bad and you shouldn't buy it. That's not my thoughts on it, not fully. So I guess I'll take some time to explain what the what Nintendo Switch Online is for those who don't know, what the expansion pack is, what it includes, at least for now, the price of it, and afterwards just give some thoughts as we go along. So this is scriptless. No script, so just don't expect a continuous strain of thought. I think that the best way for me to give my opinion without it sounding, the worst, is to have it unscripted. I'll cut out some, moments of silence or things that just aren't that good, as the kids would say. But until then, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. So first of all, for those who don't know, Nintendo Switch Online is the online service for the Nintendo Switch family of systems, and essentially for around $20 a year, that's like the max if you're not wanting to spend less money on the family plan, you get access to NES games, SNES games, not all of them, get access to a fair amount, NES games, SNES games, and you get access to the very, very crappy Nintendo Switch Online app. It's not worth it at all, but you get access to that, so good for you. And also, you get access, you just get access to play online. I think that's it. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, if I am wrong. Chances are I am, so I would not be surprised in the slightest. But yeah, let's talk about what this expansion pass is. What does it add on to make it worth more money, huh? Well, I'm here to tell you that. So, essentially, the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, or we're just going to say the expansion pack, what this includes is it gives you access to some N64 games, Sega Genesis games, which, by the way, I think is stupid, because, the Nintendo Switch has already got a giant collection of the Sega Genesis library, so I don't get why you're paying more for the online service so that you can get access to these games that, already are pretty reasonably priced on the Switch eShop on its own. So I don't get that. And 64 games, I get, 3D games, a little harder to port over to the Switch with the emulator that they're using. I would understand why it costs a little bit more money, right? Well, the little problem here, as you look further down into this, is that this thing costs $50 a year for one person, right? Now, that is more than twice the price for this. Also, I forgot to mention, you also get access to the Animal Crossing New Horizons DLC that was announced, I think around the same time that the price was dropped. You get the Happy Home Paradise DLC, and you'll be seeing it on screen, but it is essentially the Happy Home Designer DLC for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and that is awesome. I think that's stupid cool. And I just, it's just really cool. With that, so all of that combined, $50 a year. On its own, I think that's extremely overpriced because in reality, the main reason that people want to get this service is for the N64 games, being able to play these games, some people possibly for the first time ever. I know that's the case for me with most of these games. No one really wants to pay for Sega Genesis games because you can get, all the Sega Genesis games on your Switch. You can already get like almost all these games on the Switch. Nintendo 64, you can't get half these games on. You can like, I think Mario 64 is the only N64 game that has been on the Switch. So this is the main reason that you want to get this game, you know? You want to get this service. Is so that you can get these N64 games, enjoy them. You can get the Animal Crossing DLC separately, you know? It makes no sense why you're just getting one DLC and some N64 games and some Sega Genesis games. It makes no sense for, you know, the start of it. And this is where my game theory brain starts toiling around. It starts grinding its gears, you know? I believe, and this is my humble opinion, but I believe there is more than meets the eye here. Maybe this is just me being very hopelessly optimistic. Maybe so. But I, honest to God, think that this expansion pack is being already priced so high is because they have plans to release more DLC as time goes on. And, you know, maybe that's obvious. You know, I just don't see why they would price it so high for one DLC. Sega Genesis games that we already have access to, and, you know, N64 games, which is the main appeal. They're not going to charge $30 extra a year for a single person to get this, right? My idea is that just like how they're going to be slowly drip feeding us Sega Genesis games and N64 games, we're going to also be getting DLC. We're going to be getting DLC maybe for new games, but I think mostly for pre-existing games more as time goes on. So I think it wouldn't be too bad of a guess to assume that, you know, maybe we'll get like the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC. Maybe we'll get the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC. Maybe we'll get the Octo expansion. Maybe we'll get those as DLCs that will be included with the expansion pack as time goes on further and further. Because, of course, I think, you know, by now they're not going to get much of a profit from these DLCs. So Nintendo's probably like, okay, let's try and get as much of a profit from these DLCs that people aren't going to buy that much anymore. So, therefore, let's try and maybe, you know, let's try and get them to pay some more. It's a little crappy, I know, but think about it. For those who have never played the DLC for some of those games, maybe they were kind of like, I don't know, I'm not too much into Splatoon 2 to get that Octo expansion. I don't know. I'm not really thinking that that's going to be it for me. And then they get the DLC. Or they get the expansion pass, and they're like, oh, this expansion's actually pretty cool. Oh, it's just like how like they're giving game trials to games if you have online. It's kind of like the same thing with the DLC here, where I think it's just going to encourage more sales of games to come out, because of course you're going to need that DLC to play that game. And so, you know, it's technically a discount to play that DLC, because you're getting the DLC technically, quote unquote, in some people's heads for free. Because it's a service you're already paying for, it's just an added bonus. And so I think that's Nintendo's plan going forward, but I think the big problem is that they're not explaining nearly enough about the whole DLC and explaining why the price is the way it is. They're just saying, this is the price, like and subscribe. That's what they're saying in this trailer that you're seeing right now behind me. This totally real face of mine. I really do think that there's more than meets the eye. Of course, I'm going to be getting this expansion pass because, you know, I want to play Banjo-Kazooie, I want to play Paper Mario, I want to play Kirby 64, I want to play Yoshi's Story. Like, those are games I've always wanted to play since I was a little kid, that I never got to because I never had an N64. And so, I really think, you know, that's going to make it worth it to me, because I know I'm going to play those games to the end. So it's going to be worth the money compared to, like, trying to find an N64 and the games for, like, a somehow decent price. I don't even have AV cables. That's why I had to invest in a Retron, because I only have an HDMI TV. And that was the only way I was able to play those games. And so, being able to now play N64 games portably, I think especially portably, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And so I know I personally will find an actual, like, great amount of use out of this expansion pass. But for a lot of people, especially the people on Twitter, because we all know that Twitter on its own is the most reasonable social media platform on the planet, let alone the Nintendo Twitter. Oh, those guys are the most reasonable guys you'll ever meet online, the nicest people you'll ever say. If you say anything remotely critiqueful, they'll always be helpful, and they'll always accept your critique, and they'll always take it they'll always, like, turn the other cheek, and they're always like, I completely, you're your opinion is completely valid, and we're fine with it. You can have that opinion, and that's okay. Totally. They have those. Oh, they're great. But yeah, if you go on the Nintendo Twitter, the false facade and the sarcasm aside, people are extremely angry about this. And I think the big thing about it is people aren't understanding the possible, and again, it's all possible. It's all, we can't confirm this, but this seems very likely, right? This seems extremely likely that we're going to get more DLC as time goes on, and possibly more consoles as time goes on. Now, do I think they're going to be putting games like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy? Maybe what they'll do is they'll do original Game Boy on the original online, and then Game Boy Advance on the expansion pack. Who knows? Maybe they'll do that, but I think as time goes on, this DLC or this expansion pass will eventually, at least to some people, grow to be more worth it. I think more DLC is going to be added. I think, possibly more consoles are going to be added. There's just no way. I think even Nintendo, the company that is known for half the time making extremely bad decisions, and I'm being honest here. I know that. But I think even Nintendo knows that there's no human way that they can charge this much. With them trying to appeal to children, for them trying to appeal to a more casual audience, I think even they understand that this is just way too much. And so I am very optimistic, or I'm very hopelessly optimistic, chances are. But I think Nintendo can pull this around. I think they just need to, add games. They need to add more games faster on the N64 and Genesis. And also, they need to, release more DLC, like the Happy Home Paradise. If you don't have a new game with DLC, every month, bring in an old DLC. Maybe bring, Season 1 of the Breath of the Wild expansion pass. Maybe, drip feed us that. Maybe drip feed us some Octo expansion, some other DLCs. Make the service fuller and more worth our money. Xbox Game Pass has shown to do that remarkably well. Nintendo just needs to look at other companies and see that that's doing well for them, and then Nintendo will copy it. I know they will. So, I think we all just... For now, it's not worth the money. I'll admit it, it's not worth the money. But I think we need to cut Nintendo at least a tiny bit of slack, because, my goodness, I feel like we just need to wait. And when I say wait, I'm not saying you need to pay for it and wait. If you feel like it's not worth your money, don't buy the freaking thing. Don't buy the extra service. Just buy regular Switch Online if you like playing online, and then just buy the Animal Crossing DLC separately. Emulate on the N64. I can't stop you. But at the end of the day, understand that most likely there's going to be more than just this 3. Why Nintendo decided that it was only going to show these 3 and not hint at anything in the future is beyond me. Because Nintendo is Nintendo. That's probably the answer here. But understand that chances are this service is going to get way better in the near future. So I would just cut Nintendo just the slightest amount of slack. And at the same time, cut some slack to the people that are watching your Twitter feed, because I can attest for this. It's annoying. We get it. The initial project is not good. But Jesus Christ, Twitter. I know I can, just not go on Twitter, and maybe that's another lesson that we should learn, is to not, get involved with Nintendo Twitter, because that place is a toxic cesspool. That's probably what the Joker dived into before he became the Joker. Probably, he just got, he dumped into the Twitter acid, and then he became the lovable goofball that we all know and love. But, I don't know. What do you guys think about the Nintendo Online Expansion Pass? Do you think that it's going to get better as time goes on? Are you already just lost all hope? That's honestly very understandable. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And, if you like this content, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to do more discussion videos. Just, maybe just talking about life. Maybe just talking about games I've played that I don't want to cover as a Let's Play. I'd be more than happy to do that. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you watched all the way through. Consider subscribing if you did. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, as always, I will see you in the next video. So, yeah. Bye-bye!